Most AI conversations focus on development and marketing, but today we're talking about how AI is actually being used inside product businesses to replace internal tools, automate testing, and remove friction from day-to-day operations. What is genuinely saving time and what is not worth the effort?
This is WP Product Talk, a place where every week we bring you insights, product marketing, business management and growth, customer experience, product development, and more. It's your go-to podcast for WordPress product owners by WordPress product owners. And now, enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm Katie Keith, founder and CEO at Barn2 Plugins.
And I am Matt Cromwell, founder of Roots and Fruit.
Now, before we get started, if you benefit from WP Product Talk, we'd love your support. The easiest way to show your support is just to hit subscribe right now. It only takes a second and it makes a big difference. Thank you.
Yes. And huge thanks to Freemius for being our exclusive growth partner. Freemius helps software makers grow, monetize, and succeed. Freemius is a merchant of record platform, not just a simple e-commerce platform. They handle everything around selling software, your checkout, your payments, your subscriptions, your licensing and updates, and global tax compliance. Nobody wants to deal with that. So they do all that so you can focus on building amazing products instead.
Now, before we get into today's topic, I know that you, Matt, have been working on something very exciting to benefit WordPress product makers. And I'd love to know a bit more about what you've been working on.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. I got to introduce myself today as the founder of Roots and Fruit. That's my new agency. I launched it just a couple of weeks ago. As a lot of you know, I recently, well, it's now 4 or 5 months ago, exited Stellar WP and exited Give WP, my original WordPress product that I co-founded forever ago. And I'm on this new journey to hopefully help democratize product growth. That's what I've been saying. So it's a fractional chief growth officer agency. And I've already picked up a couple clients. I also have a thing that I call Solo Lab. If you are a solo founder who is working on your own and you want to have some accountability and some really good ideas and learn a little bit from me along the way, I'm taking some signups right now. We're actually kicking off our very first Solo Lab with a group of 4 tomorrow. And I'm excited about that as well. So fractional growth stuff and Solo Lab. And you can find all the information over at rootsandfruit.com.
Nice. I think that will be so useful to people because through my things that I do and like this show and Twitter and everything, I so regularly get contacted by product people, particularly solopreneurs that have launched a product that want help basically, and they don't know where to get that help. So I think it's really cool that you've now built that service to help these people to grow their businesses, particularly if they're like a lone developer that isn't into marketing or something like that.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And you have been encouraging me all along the way, which I also really appreciate. So
yeah, well, you're obviously the person to do it, and it's definitely a gap. So I think it'll be really useful for people.
Yeah. Check it out, folks. Roots and Fruit. Actually, you know what? Katie and I think Ian as well, are also going to be at a thing recently or coming up in April. Checkout Summit. If you are doing anything at all with WooCommerce or with checkouts, you should check that out as well. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be talking about Roots and Fruit a lot over there. So lots of opportunities for everybody to learn more and level up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Now, let's jump into today's topic. For this, we have invited Michael to the show. Welcome, Michael.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. Could you tell everyone a bit about yourself before we get into the topic?
Sure. So my background, I was co-founder of Buddy Boss. For those of you who've used Buddy Boss, probably the most well-known social networking platform on WordPress. And I ran that for about 14 years. and that was acquired in 2024. And right around that time, we launched Rapyd Cloud, my next venture, which is a super high performance WordPress hosting company. If you have a dynamic site, like a BuddyBoss site, but also an e-learning site, any site where lots of people are logging in and there's dynamic content, Rapyd Cloud is super scalable for that kind of audience. Personal life, I'm a product guy. I love building and creating. And in my home life, I'm a father of 3 girls, including a 2-month-old baby girl.
Awesome.
So life is hectic, but that's part of the fun.
Absolutely. I'm also a father of 3 girls and a boy. So
wow.
You don't have a 2-month-old though.
No, thank God. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, thanks again for coming on. For everyone watching live on YouTube, please leave your comments and questions or feedback in the comment section, and we'll try to get to it while we're live. Now, let's talk about AI used for internal tools. We generally structure this as a kind of show and tell, where each of the 3 of us talk a bit about our experiences and advice about that. Now, Michael, should we get started with you, and you can share about how you're using AI to run your business?
Sure. Before I even get into specific tools, and as a sneak peek, we've built a tool that basically replaces Jira, a tool that replaces Figma, things like we have all kinds of expensive tools we've built in-house. But high level, AI has transformed my whole way of working and my philosophy. So I was watching a YouTube video, someone was talking about this, how there's, when you run a business, you have this cross between, you can either have a maker role or a manager role. And a lot of us who are developers start as makers and we like building. And then you start hiring people. And before you know it, you get trapped as a pure manager, which is kind of what happened to me. In BuddyBoss, we had over 100 staff at one point. And Rapyd, we have about 30. So you end up spending all your time managing, and you have this craving to build. And you don't have a creative outlet because anything you would want to build would take a year or would require, you know what I mean? You just don't have the time to build something yourself. So you're just delegating everything. But AI has allowed me to build things personally, almost anything I could dream of, and to do it quickly and to do multiple things in parallel. And so it's transformed the whole way I view what's possible, because now I can be a manager and a maker simultaneously.
Absolutely.
So it's completely it's not just like, it's at the end of the day, it's not magical. It's a tool, but it's a tool that makes you just so powerful.
I love it.
So
I have to say, Michael, when you and I were chatting about having you on the show, the minute you said, yeah, we built an internal tool with AI to replace Jira, I was like, oh, you're coming on. Like,
cool.
Let's talk about that.
Cool. So I'll talk about that. So what led me to, and that was really the first AI project I built myself end to end, the full thing. So what led me to do that was a sort of internal feeling of not being organized. So you can imagine you have 30 people and you get on, in a team, and you get on a call, you get on a Google Meet, and we talk about all these things, and people are like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it's kind of just lost to the ether. And it's like things get forgotten. And that would happen in my personal life too. Behind my monitor, I have a big blackboard that used to be full of to-do lists. And now it's pretty much erased because what the first challenge, I was like, there's just a lot of information silos, and information gets lost, and that leads to a lack of productivity, and just trying to keep track of it all in my head consumes a lot of mental energy. So I was like, I want to solve that first. So I did I did my personal and I did through the business. So in the business, we were using Jira, which, it's expensive. So you replace that, now it's free, but that wasn't the main motivator. The main motivator is like, I just want to get way more organized. So you go into Jira and you have this huge board, and things tend to just pile on the board, and it's not easy to archive them out. And so what ends up happening is you have an overflowing board, and people stop even paying attention to the Kanban lanes. And so at one point we just had an epic that had all the important things that we wanted to do in one big epic. Yeah. So I was like, this is not good. So I had a vision in my mind of how I could make things way more, how I would love it to actually work. So I started just building. And I learned a lot through that. So we have, we call it Rapyd Progress Tracker. It's an internal tool. And so you have a board, it's like a card representing each project. And the idea is that each project is a mini project that is meant to be done and archived. So the board has its own Kanban board in it, but it's also designed in such a way that it's supposed to just be little tasks related to that one board. And as soon as you're done, you archive the board and it's out of sight, out of mind. And the whole team is in there doing this. And so at any moment, I can go through and see what everyone's working on, and so can everybody else.
Yeah. But the one thing that's interesting about this is that over all the last dozens of years,
Yes.
development teams have still asked this question. They've been like, well, why don't we just build that thing internally? Because they know that they could. The development teams always could have built these things. Now we could build it faster. But then once you've built it, now you have this technical debt that you own. And that's one thing that a lot of folks are still like kind of talking about. Is like, now we're going to all have like 1 million bespoke individual Jiras of our own. And I go from this company to the next company, and now I don't know how this other system works, and it's weird. And now I have to maintain it myself, and blah, 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 blah. What's your take on that problem, though?
I think it's easier to maintain the internal tool than to use the external tool. That's my personal opinion. So with Jira as an example, there's so much work you have to do to, like, some companies hire a Jira admin to manage the tool.
Like, yeah,
totally. if you build it with AI properly, a couple things. One, you build it along the way with markdown files that document the whole logic of the system, so that the AI has context for how to do these things. But the other thing is, you don't have to maintain it. If you build it and it works, you can just leave it. With an external tool, they're updating stuff. You're getting emails all the time. We're switching this. We're upgrading this. We're deprecating that. We need you to update your APIs. An internal tool, if it's working, you could just leave it. And in 5 years from now, the tool is exactly the same as where you left it off. No, there's no external force making you do anything. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, once there's the upfront cost to doing it yourself is higher, but once you build it, everything tapers off and gets easier. And like, for example, when we have a customer support, or when we want to report a product bug, we have a special board just for bugs, and it's got a special form in there that collects the information that we need for a bug. And we couldn't do that in Jira. So like, when you want to do creative solutions like that, you just do it properly instead of some hacky workaround. So with Jira, what we had is, in order to capture the data in a way that everyone in our support team could use, because we didn't want them all having to go into learn Jira, we had a form in Slack where we would, a Slack workflow where they would collect all the information we needed for the bug, and then it would send that into Jira and create a ticket. So that's like a hacky workaround we had to maintain. Whereas now, there's just, the form is just built in the tool. Another thing was, like, in Jira, you can only assign something to one person. But almost everything we work on, you'd have like 2 or 3 people who are working on it. You'd have maybe a front end and 2 back ends and maybe like a reviewer. So in my tool, you can assign it to as many assignees as you want. So the task has 4 assignees, and we all are emailed on everything. So we don't, whereas in Jira, I'd have to make sure we'd have to put some notes about who else is on the task, and like CC them in the comments and stuff. You know, all these hacky workarounds you had to memorize. And now you just do it clean. So that's how I think about it.
Yeah. Here, we've got a quick comment from, I'm not even going to pronounce that many B's in one go, saying progress tracker indeed is pretty helpful.
Shazab.
How do you pronounce so many B's?
Well, he normally doesn't have that many B's.
Yeah, the username wasn't available, was it?
I guess not. So that's Shazab, who's in our marketing team. So yeah, he likes the progress track. Everyone likes it. We're way more organized as a team.
I love it. I'm amazed. I want to have it now. But I have to also say, like, better than Jira is a pretty low bar. I have to.
Well, there's a reason for that, because and I don't want to bash them too much, but there are a lot of companies like this that are not optimizing for you anymore. Yeah. They're optimizing for lock-in. Yeah. If you try to quit your Jira, you will see how hard it is to get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like shutting down a company with the IRS or something. It's so hard. It's like they're optimizing for a vendor lock-in and not for customer experience anymore, in my opinion. Yeah. So but I mean, so that was the first project I ever built. And it took about 3 weeks to get to a point where people could kind of start using it. And then maybe like another month, maybe 2 months in total, just on the side, to get it to the point where it could fully run. But that was the first thing I built. If I had to rebuild it all from scratch now, I could do it in probably a few weeks. And I would do it using a different tech stacks. Like that is built on, it's a PHP app. Why? Because I used to WordPress, and I was like, I want to limit the amount of learning curve I have here. I just want to take a stack I use already and do that. But the other thing, and that's a limiting factor. You end up, if you're a WordPress person, it's like you just do everything in PHP because that's what you're used to. But with AI, you don't need to know the whole programming language. You just need to know how to architect it. So if I were building that from scratch, I would use like the modern stack of like Next.js and Supabase and stuff.
Yeah.
Because Supabase handles all the authentication and everything. I don't get too technical here, but like basically AI allows you to use any tech stack you want. So you can just take whatever's the best for that purpose and do it. It doesn't matter.
100%. Yeah, it's amazing.
So
do you have another really good example of what you built internally? I'm hyper curious.
I have tons. So on the topic of organization, I'll just touch on that. So my personal notes, I do now in a tool called Obsidian.
Yeah.
And the reason I like Obsidian, it's just a note taker. I mean, if you use it, it feels like you're in any note taking app, but it saves each note as a markdown file. You have in the sidebar, you have folders and files. If you go look on your computer, the actual folders and files that are in the UI, the metaphor is real. You actually have it organized as those folders and files on your computer as markdown files. What does that mean? It means AI can run wild on it.
Yeah.
And you can put it in GitHub. So my personal notes, I write things by hand, but then periodically I just go in Cloud Code and have it reorganize my notes and move things around and optimize it. And the AI has a Claude.md file. We can get into this technical stuff later if you want to know, but it basically has instructions for how I like to organize things and how I like to work. Or maybe I start a new project and I'm building something and I'll just prompt it. I want you to add notes for this in my Obsidian that explain the project and what to do in the terminal to start it up and all the context. And it can just go to that folder in my laptop and read the README, and it knows how my notes work and just add them. So that's why I was saying at the beginning, my Blackboard full of notes is like empty now because I'm so organized, and I don't even have to read my notes necessarily. I can be working on a project and I can just ask the AI, like, go into my Obsidian folder and give me the context for that note, whatever.
Yeah.
So that was the first priority for me, was getting my personal notes, which is work and personal mixed, and getting the business all organized so that the stuff in the ether that you have to remember is all organized. And now I can just focus and you have a system for managing it.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question. You mentioned the amount of time it took. What was the opportunity cost of that? Because you remind me of the developers in my mastermind group for the last year or so. They have totally been geeking out on AI. Founders are developing software again. They are loving that. Like you said earlier, they're makers again. They're so motivated. They're incredibly efficient, but they are building software as much as running their companies now. So what else could you have done with that time, I wonder? All
right. Imagine the internet came out and you decided not to dabble with websites at all. Or the iPhone came out and you said, I'm not going to get a phone. I like my old school. It's like, this is a disruptor. This is a complete shift in technology.
Yeah.
And we're in the early days of it right now. And what's the opportunity cost of not getting in on that is the way I view it. So like the time I spent doing that taught me so much. And when it comes to a technology.
Oops.
Hang on, he's come back.
All right, we're back. So when it comes to a technology that's this transformative and this new, what's the opportunity cost of not learning it is how I view it. So I view that project as something useful for the business, but also an excuse for me to I need a project where I can learn how to use this stuff and build the whole thing end to end to see if it's possible, if I can actually do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that I know I can do it, I can start applying that to other stuff. So I have a mobile app in my pocket that I built end to end. Once you get faster, and you have all these repos on your computer. And so you build something. If you want to build something similar, you don't need to start from scratch. You tell it, go look at that repo, and I want to build something like that, but with this API, and it'll just like replicate.
Yeah.
So you get increasingly faster as you go.
Michael, what's your role at Rapyd Cloud again?
General manager. Basically, I run the company.
Yeah.
But with a personal focus on product. So, but now I'm doing more in marketing and things. I'm trying to get sort of like push everything. But my background is mostly in product, so I spent a lot of time with the product team. But yeah, that's
No, I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
I only asked because I think that what you're saying, tying to Katie's question about opportunity cost, whether it's a win or a loss or whatnot, like I could totally see how you're investing in your knowledge of this technology that your whole team needs to be leveraging as well.
Correct.
And
Correct.
you have to have an intimate knowledge, not just a surface knowledge of like AI can generally speaking do these things. You want to have a more intimate knowledge because also honestly, there is like a million different ways to implement AI in a million different applications. And I think like 500,000 of them are extremely wasteful. Or, there's good ways to leverage it and wasteful ways to leverage it. And also ways that can really get expensive very quickly as well. So having that intimate knowledge, I think, helps you to be able to guide the team in a probably more informed manner, right?
For sure. Yes, and to inspire the team.
Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah.
So we were building things. You have to get all your developers to use AI, and now they are, but they're resistant to it because it's scary. But there's an ego thing for a developer. Not for a manager. Manager, we don't have it as much. We just want to go fast. But like for developers, there's an ego thing. It's like, I know how to do this. I don't need that. But it's like you're not realizing you're missing out on something that's going to make you so much more powerful. So yeah, you're good at solving problems, but just level up and solve bigger problems. Let the AI take care of the little stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The wave that I've kind of been seeing is like, I feel like AI really came for the bloggers first. It was like, hey, we can write these articles just as good or better than you guys can. But then we saw a bunch of AI slop, right? And people are getting better at that. AI then came for technicians, for support technicians. It was like, we can answer these questions better than the technicians can. And that has been actually really disruptive, but also a big opportunity as well, I think, in a lot of ways. And then it is coming for developers. I feel like maybe around the same time as developers, it's also coming for marketers in the sense of like, marketers aren't just writing stuff. They're actually trying to create strategy and they have to interact with so many different APIs and everything. There's a lot of opportunity there as well. And I think having that kind of deep integrated knowledge of the possibilities is going to help level up across the board.
For sure. And it's coming for people, for paralegals, for accounting clerks, anyone who's doing like but I don't think you can view it as it's coming for my job. You can view it that way. You can view it another way as, if I get good at this, it just makes me like 10 times more powerful at my job.
100%.
So what AI is, at least for now, taking care of a lot of the busy work. And so like, it's not like you don't need support people in your, just talking to customers. You can't have all AI. But what the AI can do is like, if you ask a general question about the product, you don't need a person to answer that. The AI can be trained on your knowledge base and answer that.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
The person comes in for the stuff that actually requires creativity.
Yep.
Like I need help with this billing thing, or this thing on the site is broken, or whatever. That's what the person can come in and actually handle, like hard stuff. And I view the same thing with software. It's like you can get more ambitious with what you're going to do. It's like the idea of me replacing Jira on my own would have never occurred to me without AI. And even I could have had my team build it, but it's like, what a massive waste of everyone's time to spend 6 months building that. But if I can build it on my own for free, or for like $200 in tokens, sure, why not?
Absolutely.
What else? You want me to talk about other stuff we're building?
I'll share a little bit of show and tell stuff.
Please.
I have been on kind of like a new discovery of who I am and what I do, since I'm like in this new post Give WP era for me, which is, I have to say, it's like a little bit of an existential issue. It's like trying to think of myself as not myself, but it's been fun. And it's given me a lot more time. I have a ton more time at the moment to learn all this stuff, and it's been cool. But what I have, that was a little bit of my leading to this, was like coming from marketers, if I'm going to be focusing on growth, marketing is a major aspect of growth in general. And so I've been trying to put together essentially how I want to do some of the growth marketing work with AI in one way or another. And what I've been finding overall is that there's a million tools out there that are targeting marketers right now. And I actually think they're a little bit predatory because a lot of the AI-driven tools are relatively straightforward to do if you just have Cursor or Claude or whatever, and you just tie it into the AI APIs. Or build in some MCPs into it as well. Once you have those kinds of setups, which are dev-heavy oriented setups, but once those are there, you can do a lot of the work of these big, like one of them that you'll see a lot is in marketing, they'll talk about Fanout queries. When you ask AI, I need to know the best managed WordPress host right now, it will create all these extra queries called Fanout queries. And those are exposed over the AI's API. They're not exposed in like ChatGPT or things like that, but as the AI is thinking, it's developing all these Fanout queries, and those you can find in the API. And so there's all these tools now that are charging a ton of money for Fanout query generators, essentially. And what they're doing is trying to get marketers who know that they need to optimize for Fanout queries to buy their platform because they don't know how to ping the API, basically. And so I'm setting these things up locally, and I'm creating a whole bunch of internal knowledge bases on my clients and their KPIs and all that kind of thing in order to be able to create documentation and strategies. And I'm doing it all just from Cursor alone, basically. I agree with Katie. I've been talking with a lot of developers, including the folks in her mastermind, who are really excited about all kinds of new apps and softwares that are doing all kinds of crazy things. But I actually think in many ways what AI is going to do is actually make all that stuff a lot more minimalist in some ways. I really think the more and more that we interact with APIs, the less surfaces we have to deal with overall. I don't know. I mean, I'm not no crystal ball here, but I feel like there is a bit of an opportunity with all of this to do fewer SaaSes, to do a lot fewer services, and to focus more on just being able to leverage APIs locally and get the work done locally. I keep meaning to look into Obsidian, like you're saying, because of its markdown focus. I think it's really amazing. I'm such an old schooler. I still have like Notepad++ that I use for all my notes and stuff. Like I'm like text-based, you know what I mean? Not markdown-based. I think that kind of internal local knowledge is a way to level up any of your skills. And that's what I keep finding too, is that what's the best way to say it? The technology is changing, but the principles and practices of what makes good work doesn't change. Like we still have to do the right kinds of work. We still have to get good, disciplined, practical, high quality work out the door, whether it's like good email campaigns, whether it's good CPC campaigns, whether it's a good roadmap that actually serves the customer a lot better than Jira does and doesn't force lock-in and things like that. I'm sorry, I will throw Jira under the bus every time I can. I think AI is accelerating our ability to do those things, and so the expectations are higher. But I actually think our ability to do it can be reduced down to like just Cursor that's smart and pinging in the right areas. I don't know. That's a little bit of, I don't have a lot to show. I mean, I have things to show, but it's too early to show them. So I don't know. Katie, what do you think? We talked a little bit about this too. Like you come at this also from a marketing perspective. And I'd love to hear what you at Barn 2 are doing on this front.
Yeah, I'm more from a solely marketing perspective, whereas you're developer and marketing. So you have the marketing knowledge of what fan out queries are and things, but the development knowledge to implement that as the founder. And I think it's really key, actually, that it seems to largely be the founders that are building these internal tools that, like Michael said, oh, I can do it for free. You just completely devalued your knowledge, your time, rather. That, oh, I can do it for $200 in tokens, and my time is free of, 2 months or something initially, although you getting faster now. So, but yeah, that is what the founders are doing. They're not allocating it to their team, even if they have a team. They are building these tools themselves. And this is giving me major imposter syndrome because I am not a developer. And as founder, I have tried to vibe code some of these things. I had a personal tutorial from Zach Katz and Daniel Iser, the founders of Gravity Kit and Pop-Up Maker, where they told me how to use Claude Code and Cursor and all of that. Then I spent several days trying. I could not do it because Michael made some good references earlier, actually, to the skills, the development knowledge you're putting in to telling the AI what technologies to use, the architecture, probably things like security best practices and so on as well. By being a developer, you know what to ask. And when you're not, you don't know how to prompt it. Just like if a non-marketer tried to replace some of the tools that Matt was talking about, they wouldn't get anywhere because they don't know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
So I
100%.
think that AI for internal tools is really fairly limited to an additional enhancement of your existing skills because of the importance of good prompting and planning. And so really, I'm finding it really hard. I have built some stuff, like I use Zapier with ChatGPT modules to automate all our outreach. So that means like looking for roundup articles like top 10 WooCommerce product filter plugins or something like that. And or even automate checking like, is our plugin already featured in the article, drafting an email for us to check. And so really saving time on things like outreach. And I use AI a lot for data analysis within Barn2. Like I'll give it a bunch of data. Because I'm not a developer, I might even get it to not go into my SQL, but tell me how to get the data from the database and so on, and then analyze it. But I really feel like I am so behind because I'm not a developer. And the developers don't realize that they are basically superheroes in this day and age because they can reach this huge potential of AI and other people can't. So I think that it's useful that other people are doing this stuff. And I wonder, neither of you have talked about releasing these amazing tools that you've built. At what point does it become a product?
Yeah, I want to double down a little bit on what you're saying because I think it's so important because I hear so many developers saying how, oh, like there's no future for products because everybody's just going to be able to build their own products. And I'm just like, do you talk to non-developers ever? Like, they need products. They need what you can do. Like, there's so much need. I actually think all of this is just amplifying the need. There's going to be so many more products out. I mean, for every like 300 SaaSes that are born today, 600 are going to die tomorrow. Like they're going so fast right now. But I think that's just the way that the market works right now at the moment. But I do think that we're going to get more and more and more of these products, and they're going to get more and more expectations on how good they need to be. And there's a whole bunch of folks out there who don't know how to even manage their WordPress website at all. They need those products. They need them desperately. For sure. So I think there's not less demand. I think there's going to be more demand, but also higher expectations too. What do you think, Michael?
So, all right. So first thing I'm going to touch on Katie's topic, and then what you're saying. So I agree with you, Katie, that sometimes I forget my background and why it's easy for me to do this. Because I have a background as a core of it all is I'm a builder and a creator, not just a developer. I just make stuff, and I'm used to managing a team of developers. That skill of managing a team of developers translates one-to-one to AI.
Yeah.
Because now instead of managing a team of developers, you're just managing a team of AI agents that are basically like developers, and so you can go back and forth between. I can ask a human to help me with something. I can ask the AI to help me with something. It's the same skill.
Yeah.
Just faster, right? So it does lend itself naturally to it. I think there's room for products, for SaaS products. I think consumer products have a big future because you're just a consumer is probably not creating all kinds of stuff. And I think the general trend of business is going to move more and more towards solopreneurs. Either solopreneurs or extremely small teams. And so tools that are, because you're going to, first off, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs because of AI. And simultaneously, a lot of people are going to be empowered to do all kinds of stuff that they couldn't do before. So you're going to have like job loss and also like massive amounts of creativity booming everywhere. So you have a lot of solopreneurs and small companies, and those people I think are ripe for all kinds of SaaS products that they could use to optimize their business. But I do think if you have a SaaS that targets enterprise or like large companies, that you're in trouble because for them they can always justify to build it themselves, and they have somebody in their team who can do it. So like the companies that are charging per seat, if you're charging $50 a seat and your clients are paying for 50 seats at $50 a seat, you're in trouble because one day someone in their company who's good at AI is just going to be like knocking on the manager's door and being like, why are we paying for this? I will build it. Like everyone's going to figure this out eventually. Yeah. Within the bigger companies that have dev teams. Yeah. So that's I can't read the future, but that's my personal opinion of where things are going to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that there is a space in which folks are going to create more and more abilities for marketers and folks like Katie to be able to build tools and little apps with an interface and not have to have like Claude or Cursor or whatnot in their environment. So I do fear also for the opposite end of the enterprise, the utility types, those simple little tools that get things done. I think especially I joked on a podcast the other day, like if you're building a alt text generator for WordPress, like why? There's like 3 dozen of them that were shipped to .org yesterday. Like there's too many at the moment. That type of utility is going to probably go with the dinosaur soon as well. But I do also hope that AI gets smart enough to be like when a user says, hey, I want you to create a plugin that will let me switch to a different user in my WordPress environment. The AI would be like, why should I do that? Here's the plugin. Like,
right.
Why should I reinvent the wheel 100 times across 2,000 different users when I can just give you the plugin that already does it?
Correct. But just because the AI can build something, people who haven't done this a lot think that the AI is like magical. You can't just one-shot a plugin. You can't just be like, make me a plugin that does that. You can, and it'll do something, but it's not something you would want to use.
Yeah.
So you still have to micromanage the thing the whole way through, and if you want something that has good output and something that you can keep iterating on without massive technical debt, you have to kind of like do that. And it is true that if somebody is managing it, they are constantly improving it and tweaking it and optimizing it and stuff like that. So like a lot of times a pre-built solution is going to be the best solution for you. It depends. If your needs are constantly evolving, sometimes that's where if the tool needs to evolve on a regular basis, if it would be better off like that, then that's where it's really good to build it yourself because you can iterate on it and change it over time, with basically no cost.
Yeah. I think, Katie, going back to your question about like releasing or outsourcing or not outsourcing, releasing these internal tools and things like that, I love the question because what it highlights is that there is a vast difference between an internal tool that works and a product that's worth shipping. And that's a subject that comes up on the show a lot. Like this Fanout query AEO logger thing that I built that the other tools are charging a lot of money for. It's functional and ugly. I would never ship it. It works for my purposes, and that's all I need it for right now. I might want to turn it into something like if I know I could get like 1,000 users paying me $90 a month tomorrow, like I should probably ship it right now. But it's not at that stage at all. It's just a huge difference, and I've been telling a lot of folks this. There's such a big difference between code that works and a product. And that used to be like a mentality, I think, that is very dev centric. Is that, oh, I'm a product builder because I code. What? Customers don't buy code ever. Like, they don't really care about the code. They're not analyzing the code. They don't care how beautiful and poetic your code is. They're buying experiences, and that's so much larger than what we can generate. Now, Michael, I'm assuming that the tool, the Jira killer that you built, probably could become a product if you give it another month at the most.
It
right?
could. It could. Well, are there a couple obstacles? So one, it's built for us.
Yeah.
So if you want to make it a product, you have to have all kinds of settings and options and all kinds of stuff, which is possible, but you have to do that. But then the other missing part of it, I mean, the main thing is you only have so much energy. So there's building the product, and then there's go to market. So once to go to market is a whole nother conversation. Now you need marketing channels, and you need to do marketing continuously. And the product itself it can reach a level of maturity where it doesn't need to change that much. So like, let's say you spend 2 months building the product and you want to make it something you're selling. Well, now for years, potentially you're doing marketing and support and stuff around that product. So the build becomes only like 10% of the work eventually. So I'm not going to be marketing 1,000 things. Like, you have to pick and choose your battles, basically. You know, if you're going to actually go live with something, it better be something you really feel like you have a go to market for.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have a go to market to sell a Jira competitor. I feel like there's big businesses there with huge marketing budgets that I would be competing up against, and I feel like yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. I don't feel like I would go to market to do that, and there's better things. There's better things. I'm not in that business. There's better things to focus on. So if things come up that I feel like there's a clear market for this, and I have a go-to-market channel for it, and there's a need and stuff, maybe I'll go for it. But like, it has to check out as a business. It's not just because it's a useful tool. Like you said, not everyone, but like massive amounts of people are building useful tools all the time.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean there's an easy way to sell that and acquire customers.
Absolutely. It's fascinating because it makes it like the competition that we have as product builders now isn't other product builders anymore. It's teams that can build our product themselves. It's like, we don't even get to see the competitor anymore. We don't even know who the competitor is. We don't even know the functionality of the competitor, because it's all internal tooling that competes with us. It's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. So I'll just give some examples of a couple other projects we're working on to inspire people, and just quick, just high level, and leave it at that. So because we've been going deep into all kinds of stuff, which is fun. So some other things we're working on. One is we've basically stopped using Figma totally. So we used to do all our design work in Figma, and you'd have every single design would be like that, and you'd have to spend a lot of time doing that, and you'd want everything perfect, because you're going to pass this on to a developer and they have to code it. No more. Now I have a interactive prototype of our product dashboard.
Yeah, got it.
That I just built through AI. And when we want to scope a new feature, I just go there and talk to the AI and play around and test interfaces until I find something that we like. And then when the developer needs to implement it in the real product, they can actually just play with it and copy the text right out of it.
Yep.
So we do that. That's transformed things, made product development like way faster. And we're also working on internal dashboards. So like, imagine how much time it takes to configure something like Mixpanel, and that you have to add stuff in the code and make the blocks and everything like that. I'm just building my own that's hooked right. And so now I can have dashboards for like every kind of information I'd ever want. So these are just some examples of kind of things that once you get into it, you get creative and you start tackling things that seem, it opens up so many avenues.
100%. I will say I just started experimenting with Figma Make, which is like an AI design generator, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's pretty incredible because it doesn't just output like SVGs or whatnot. It outputs all the code. It outputs a functional prototype of things. It's pretty amazing. Google AI Studio also does something very similar. I mean, Bolt and Lovable, these are all very similar things at this stage. But I love that, what you're talking about, because it goes straight from like, why do you have to do all of that design work if you can actually prototype it live? That's great.
Yeah, and if you're building from AI from scratch, you can go even another step, like you were talking about there. Like, it doesn't even necessarily need to be a prototype. You could design it in such a way, and maybe we will. It would take work for us at this point to retransform everything. But you could go to have something where the prototype actually just gets shipped, and no one even needs to copy it. You could take it all the way to there.
Yeah.
But then you have to be more clean in the prototype. I don't mind my prototype being dirty code because it's not shipping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's get to a couple of comments from people who are watching live. We've got Inquest AI saying, everyone is now a builder. The models are improving so quickly that you basically describe what you want and it will build it.
Well, that's a little bit of what we're kind of like batting around and almost disagreeing with. I think if you're a developer, you could do that, right?
It's ambiguous. You basically describe what you want. If you're a developer and you say, I want you to use this technology and follow these best practices and structure it like this, then yes. If I just say from a functional perspective, then I know that what I get is going to be unusable and it won't even work.
But you have to know what to ask it. You have to know what to ask the AI.
Yeah.
So like you can ask, like, I don't come to it saying this is the tech stack to use. I say to the AI, this is what I'm trying to build. Give me options on different tech stacks and why I should use one of them.
Yeah.
And then I ask more, what are the pros and cons of that tech stack? What's going to happen if I do that? And I just keep asking it. And then it recommends it. Like I've started to train myself to just every single thing to ask the AI, especially now with, and I don't know when like Claude Code now is so freaking smart. It's like if you compare it now to 6 months ago, it's very different. So there was really a turning point, maybe 2 or 3 months ago when Opus 4 or 5 came out, where it's just like, wow, this thing is smart. And so it is reaching a point where I think maybe you still feel today like you need to be a developer, but I do believe we will pass a turning, if not now, then soon it will pass a turning point where even if you're not thinking like a developer, it will just guide you so well that you will get sucked into it, I believe.
Interesting. It was a few months ago that I last tried and couldn't produce anything workable. So yeah, these things keep changing. But Inquest AI's point is, I think distribution is the hard part. Code is commoditizing. I think that addresses my question about when do you release this as a product? Because successful products are all about the execution. This is why I think people go too far with saying that there's no role for these sorts of products in the future, because it's all about the execution. And we've got a very similar comment on that point from Brendan O'Connell, who says customers don't buy code, they buy products, they buy experiences. Sounds like helpful advice in today's market.
100%.
That's the thing. We are providing, we are thinking these things through for our customers. Even that's important. We are thinking through the requirements and building products. If they were doing it with AI, they would have to do all that research and have an understanding of the subject matter, which they don't want to do. They've got better things to be doing in their businesses. So what our plugin does need to add that extra value. It needs to provide something that they couldn't just do in 5 minutes with AI.
Correct.
Should we go on to best advice?
Yeah, so we wrap up every show with a quick roundtable question. What is your single one best piece of advice for anyone thinking about how to use AI for their internal tools? Do you want to start, Michael?
Sure. When I started doing this, I was doing it in ChatGPT, and then eventually, I moved to Cursor, and then I moved to Claude Code. And what I found is right now, I think Claude Code is the smartest AI there is for building tech by like a large margin. So my advice would be start with Claude Code. And I think the easiest way to get started with that is to download VS Code. And it's a desktop application. And in VS Code, you can add the official Claude Code extension. And so then you have a UI where you can see the files and you have the chat on the side. And I would just tell people, if you're like new to it all, Start with that because you're using what I believe is the best model, but in an easy interface. And then just get and then every single thing that you're tempted to figure out on your own or to Google, ask the AI. Retrain your mind and see where it goes. That would be my advice.
Love it. My advice is similar, I would say, but do everything locally as much as possible. Start with documentation. Start with knowledge, giving your AI as much knowledge as possible internally. And really spend the time, invest it, because once that's done well and deeply, then everything afterwards gets a million times easier and much higher quality. So that's my advice. And honestly, you can use Cloud Code with Cursor also. I'm a big Cursor fan. I like it. I feel like it fits me. I keep being really tempted to just be like, I'll just try this Cloud Code stuff. I can use Cloud in Cursor. Like it's just the interface, and I like it better. So.
Similar experience. It's personal preference, I guess. Yeah. But either one of those things, have a desktop app with the tool running on it.
I've been trying anti-gravity also, and it's also really fascinating. And everybody's like, oh, anti-gravity is free, blah, blah, blah. It is not free because it blows through tokens like crazy. And you have to, it's actually a really expensive model once you get up to the tokens that you actually need.
That's one of the things that's awesome about Claude. If you use a Claude directly, you're not paying Cursor, you're paying them. And their model, they're so generous. I mean, you pay like $25 a month, I think is the starting plan, 20 or 25. If you use a lot, you'll outdo that. But you can sit at 100 a month for a long time. And they reset your tokens every 5 hours. So if it's been like 3 hours and you burn through all the tokens, it'll just tell you in 2 hours it resets. You take a break and you come back. And if that's still not enough, you can pay $200 a month. But like the amount they provide to you for 100 a month is kind of obscene. Like if you compare it to Lovable, you'd spend like $5,000 for the same 100 you spend at Claude. It's crazy.
That's amazing. Katie, what's your best advice?
My best advice is a bit higher level, which is that if you are a founder looking at using AI to build internal tools, then think about the value of your time as a bigger picture thing. At what point, yes, definitely you need to learn these technologies and see the opportunities. You also deserve to have a hobby and enjoy your work again. But also think about the business impact of all of this time, because I think some people are spending a very, very large amount of time building things themselves. So think about the whole bigger picture and prioritize just like you would with any other kind of work.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
It's good stuff.
Well, that's a wrap. Just going to put one more comment on before we finish. Great session and a really valuable discussion from all three of you, packed with practical insights on how solopreneurs, marketers, and startups can truly leverage AI in their operations. Kudos.
I'm putting that on the website.
Yeah,
frame that
one. Your comment. And Michael, thanks so much for joining us. Where can people find you online?
So Rapyd.cloud, you can see in the rapyd.cloud is a website, and I hang out. Like if you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn. Just connect with me on LinkedIn or send me a message.
Excellent. Folks, if you are enjoying these shows, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It's literally free and easy, and it helps us support what we're doing here. And special thanks again to Freemius.
Yeah, and next week, actually no next week, because it is the end of a season and we're having a couple of weeks off before we return for the following season of WP Product Talk, which won't be long. So again, you need to follow us online so that you will be alerted when we release future episodes, which will be in like 2 weeks or so. It's not very long. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.